All right, looks like we got a decent amount of people coming in already. So yeah, today we're just going to be doing a general discussion between the DAO, hopefully taking some questions. So if anyone is listening here and you have a question, feel free to drop it in the Twitter tweet that we just sent out that said "Come hang out." So we'll go ahead and get you there. So it looks like someone is requesting to come on stage from the DAO. Let me go ahead and add them. And we'll be getting started in just like 1 or 2 minutes. You know what? I would say if you are from the DAO and you want to come up here, actually raise your hand. We have so many people in here; it's kind of hard to actually find everyone. But we're going to be doing, discussion between us, but we're also going to be bringing some people up here on the stage as well to ask questions. So. Yeah, so I would say drop knowledge and gas limit reached. If you want to speak, just raise your hand because I can't find you in here. And if you have any trouble like raising your hand or anything like that, feel free to just drop something in the developer's voice chat. So cool. It looks like we have, 4 people up here. So I guess we'll go ahead and kick this off. I am Natter. I am currently logged in as developer DAO, and I'm also logged in as my own Twitter on a different machine. I would have liked to kind of have been on my own personal account to kind of, get maybe more people aware of the space, but hopefully we'll get a good turnout either way. And we're going to be kind of just talking about developer DAO. We haven't really done a Twitter space since maybe the first couple of weeks. So after we launched this thing, we did a Twitter space. I remember I was in the airport and we had no idea what was going on. It just it started to become a thing. And now it's been about 4 months and a lot of things have happened. And we've had a lot of great things, a lot of ups and downs. So I figure we come here to kind of discuss what's happened so far and maybe what we're going to be doing in the future. And then also to answer some questions for people that might have any questions. So I'll go ahead and allow or ask the people that are here on the stage to go ahead and introduce yourself. So I'm Natter. I was actually the person that deployed the smart contract that kicked off this thing, but I'm not, I would say, the main person doing the work now. We have a lot of amazing people in there actually doing a lot more than I am. So some of those people are up here today. So I guess I'll go ahead and first ask Daiwat to introduce yourself and kind of, give us a quick overview of what you've been doing in Developer DAO and what Developer DAO means for you. And I think you are still on mute, by the way. Maybe I'll come back to him. Narb, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Beauty. Thanks, Nader. Yes. GM, GA, GE to one and all. My name is Narb. I am a software developer by day and a shadowy supercoder by night. I joined the DAO in early October, I think. And basically have been enjoying the ride ever since. Personally, I started working on helping out with the Developer DAO website in its initial stage, and then and that was actually my first dip into the lake, so to speak, for contributing to open source. So that was an awesome experience, and with a little nudge from Withheart, I somehow became a maintainer and enjoyed that experience as well. It was a really awesome ride, 0 to 100 for me for open source development, and it inspired me so much that I actually went and created my own open source project called Glosida. You can go check it out on GitHub. Always look for contributors. And then my role in the DAO kind of evolved after that, and After we decided to open up or to change the format a bit to open for the different guilds, I joined the development guild. Actually, I joined all the guilds, but I've mostly been contributing the development guild, and had this idea of starting this little show and tell thing we call Dev and Tell. So I'm now known as the Dev and Tell guy, or Guinea Nar by some of the other members of the DAO. But basically, what I wanted to kind of get the word out here today was what Dev and Tell is, and basically what is the inspiration behind that. So Dev and Tell, if you didn't know, is a 30-minute window for members of the guild, actually the whole DAO, to showcase something they're passionate about or have been working on. So this could be anything like an awesome project you've been working on, demonstrating unit testing best practices, automation goodies, smart contracts, how to structure a project. Essentially, it's, if you have a passion for something, this is your opportunity to share with the community. And the whole core value behind this is basically to introduce the platform for people that don't have a huge following or big that don't have a big following on social media, or don't have a big voice, to be able to share all the cool stuff they're doing, because we're all really talented folks and we're all doing really cool stuff, but it's a shame that we can't get the spotlight on people who are doing all this cool stuff. So that's kind of what inspired Deventel, or what what inspired Deventel, and it's just allowing people in the DAO to get some spotlight, and it's a 30-minute window, and they're all recorded. And so it really forces you to simplify what you want to present and get some Q&A in as well. And on the flip side, you get you get some public speaking opportunity here, and you get lots of visibility from people in the DAO, and the YouTube posting that comes after. And you never know, recruiters or people looking to hire could be watching as well, and if they see you're doing some cool stuff, you never know what can happen after that. So if you're if you're passionate about anything at all, please don't hesitate to sign up. The sign up process is a little quick and dirty at the moment. It is just on a Notion wiki right at the bottom there. It is in the Dev and Tell channel, but I will post it also in the developer's voice. But yeah, essentially, and one thing I've noticed is people have been asking me permission to sign up. You absolutely do not have to ask me permission. You want to present? There's an open spot. Go for it. Book it. And yeah, I personally really enjoy watching all these presentations, because you see a lot of passion behind people's work and kind of what makes them tick, and it's very very uplifting and heartwarming for myself to see people enjoy the experience.
Oh, whoops! I think I accidentally muted you.
No worries. Yeah, but basically, I was saying that it's very heartwarming to see people enjoy the experience and make new friends along the way, and show their stuff. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to get out there.
Yeah, you said so much there, like so much awesome stuff. And I mean, you're obviously doing some really, really, I would say, valuable stuff for not only the DAO but for everyone in the DAO. And I think that one of the things that came out of all this whole experiment that's been the coolest thing to see happen is like what you mentioned around people being able to kind of grow their network and get people's eyeballs on the stuff that they're working on, or just to kind of be able to create things and actually have people see it. Whereas I think like a lot of times people that maybe had been doing some really awesome stuff had a tough time doing that without this type of network. So like when you look at a lot of these NFT projects, for example, you end up seeing like these really strong communities forming around them, and everyone follows each other and everyone's like hyping each other up. Like we've seen a lot of that type of stuff, but of course ours is really just obviously not really focused on the NFT, but more of the building and stuff. But I've seen people that like had like 50 or 100 followers for like years join, and then like now they have like 500 to 1,000, and they're like getting a lot of cool opportunities or having a lot of fun and learning stuff. So part of what you're doing is huge. So I just want to say thank you for all that stuff, and love to see it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for giving all of us the platform to do it. So happy to see all of it grow, and us grow all together.
So one thing just to note, if you want to have a question for us to answer, we're going to have two opportunities for that. One is that you can post a question under the tweet from us that we just tweeted out a few minutes ago that said, come hang out. just kind of sharing the actual Twitter space. So if you have a question, share it there, or just wait a little bit later on. We'll bring you up on stage. So yeah, I guess the next person I will ask to introduce themselves and kind of talk about what they're doing in the DAO is Jan.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you are. Yeah, so my name is John. I'm a front-end developer by day, and I'm just a regular member of Developer DAO. So hard to go after Nab after he spoke so much about our dev and tells, which I love. But yeah, I'm here to kind of answer any questions about, my experience as a member, and guess I can share a little bit about why I joined and what I was looking for. So actually the NFT, the developer DAO NFT was my very first NFT. Like I mentioned, I'm a front-end developer, software engineer, and I had always been interested in, I started seeing whispers of web3 and NFTs and this kind of stuff, and I was curious. And I always try to stay curious about these types of things. And the developer DAO felt like the right community to join to kind of learn, and I learned so much since then. I even did like some small hacks where I tried to put my own projects together just from like the resources and support that people share. And I'm a big proponent of community, and I try to be where other smart people are, because I know there's always somebody smarter than me. And the way that I learn and the way that my career has been, advancing over the years is always from like aligning myself with other people. And so that's why I had joined the developer though. I joined, when was it now? It's so hard to think sometimes in crypto terms, because sometimes it feels like a year and it's actually a couple of months. I think it was around October. It was really, really early up. And it has grown so much since then. And I think it has even become like a lot more than what I expected. But yeah, I'm just trying to do my part to help, and kind of build out Web3 and kind of learn from everybody else. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for being a part of the community and for jumping up here. And definitely feel free to hang out here when we have questions come in. So jump in if you have anything to contribute there as well. And also, I want to say anyone that's in the actual Twitter space right now that's part of the DAO and wants to speak before we start bringing up other people to ask questions, feel free to just raise your hand and I'll bring you up here. So yeah, I guess Isaiah, do you want to kind of give an intro? Or Isaiah, I might have mispronounced your name.
No, you said it correctly. Yes, Isaiah. And my name is Isaiah. I'm joined Developer DAO in October, and I've been working mainly within the marketing business development guild. And what we're focused on primarily is partnerships with other DAOs and other blockchain protocols, and just trying to build with other people in the Web3 community, and really just add value, and try to expose and share some of the projects that we're working on, some of the GitHub repos that the development guild is working on, and some of the I would say like community projects that the design guild is working on, and really just kind of looking at ourselves as kind of like how can we provide the most value, and be a resource to the Web3 community. So yeah, just during my time thus far as being a contributor to Developer DAO, it's been amazing, because I've been able to learn from a lot of very talented and brilliant people, and it's also allowed me to get more get more clarity around some of the other projects that are happening in Web3 by being able to talk to those who are building on that project, like specifically. And I think that's just one of the many value many upsides that I've seen since being a member. And yeah, I definitely would encourage anybody who's in technical marketing. So my background, I did head of marketing at two startups prior to jumping into Web3, and immediately saw the value in joining Developer DAO to be able to tap in with other creators and builders in the community. And so my background when it comes to development is primarily front end, but I've been able to learn a lot about back end and just writing smart contracts and things like that I don't think I would have been able to learn on my own. And so I think that's one of the numerous benefits I've seen join the Developer DAO. So yeah, anybody who's marketer, creative in the space, I would definitely, if you have experience with coding, I would definitely encourage you to join the DAO.
Awesome. Yeah, I see that you're a Georgia Tech alum. I'm from Mississippi, so not a ton of people in crypto in the Southeast. Are you still in the Southeast?
Yeah, I am. So I'm out in LA currently. Right now, I'm working on some projects, but yeah, still reside in Atlanta. So yeah.
Nice. Well, awesome, man. Happy to have you up here, and feel free again to jump in anytime to answer any questions that we're gonna have coming up. Um, I'm gonna ask. It looks like cloud security engineer has their hand up, and they're on stage anyway. So feel free to jump in and introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Tori, and of course, as my, name says, I'm a cloud security engineer and consultant for, one of the big four consulting firms, looking to pretty much, break my way into the Web3 space. I've been, really diving in and following a bunch of, a lot of people in here I follow, getting as much information I can to absorb and learn. Long story short, I actually broke into the cybersecurity industry from marketing because I hated it. I saw the income opportunities and the ability to, work from home. So that's what led me to, grind and build my way to the cybersecurity space. Now with, a space where I'm more passionate about, like I'm huge into the crypto blockchain space. Since like 2016, 2017, I've been into it. So, like I said, I've been following you, Developer DAO, and a lot of other channels as far as Nader as well. I've been getting a lot of information from him on how to build my own roadmap or blueprint into the Web3 space. So, any questions or if anyone has any more resources, I know Developer DAO. I know I messaged you guys wondering if, new memberships, if you guys had any time frame for when that would open. I've been following your page, have notifications sent, whenever you guys do open that. But again, anyone that's in the space, if you have any resources or tips or advice for myself, I love it. My goal for 2022 is to pretty much switch and get a fully full-time role within the Web3 space. So again, any advice, any help, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if anyone's looking to get into the cloud or cybersecurity space, I do have resources if want to look into that path or you're interested in that field. I like to help others as well as others have helped me.
Amazing. Yeah, I think one of the questions that we have the most is when are the memberships going to officially open back up? And actually, someone has asked that in the chat already. I think that'll be the first discussion we have once we get intros from the members here, and it's a good discussion, I think, to start off with. So thanks for being up here, and I'll next jump over to Rahat.
Hey, I'm Rahat. I've been part of Developer DAO for a little while. Been helping out as a mod, and most recently been helping out to lead the efforts for Web3Con and getting that launched. So that is coming up very soon. There's a CFP open if y'all want to talk. Definitely want more folks in there. You don't only have to be in like the Ethereum ecosystem, whatever kind of like blockchain work, Web3 work you want to talk about. We welcome everything. So would love to have more people on there. And yeah.
Man, I'm so excited about the conference. We should have a discussion about that today as well. So yeah, appreciate everything you've done and really happy to have you in the community. I think everyone is honored to have you to even be part of all this. So we appreciate it. The next person I'll ask to come up here is Daiwat. Maybe your audio works better now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. So hey, I'm Daiwat. I also joined the DAO pretty early. When I joined the DAO, I was mostly doing React stuff in Web2. And I was kind of starting to explore building open source tools, building libraries and stuff. And then I saw Nader tweeting about this new thing called Web3 Ethereum. And so, yeah, I just kind of trusted him and joined this community. And it turned out to be the luckiest decision of my life. So, when I initially joined Web3, I couldn't really find it out. That was a safe place for devs, specifically because most DAOs back then or even now are usually more focused on the community and the product aspect of the DAO. And that's where like developer DAO really stood out, because this was a space where I thought I could build projects with uh, devs just like me, and that's what we did. We started building with our DAO's website, and now we are working on a UI library for Web3, which has been like such an amazing experience learning from some so talented people. Uh, so yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. And before I stop, I really want to give a shout out to Nether, because I think we don't appreciate him enough for all he has done. I think Developer DAO is such a great community uh, because of him, because he's the one who started it, and that's where all the people came from. So thanks, Nether.
Hey man, we're honored to have you here. And like one of the things that's been my favorite part of this whole experience is like meeting and connecting with all of the people that I have had the opportunity to meet and connect with. So it's been awesome, and we're just so lucky to have you here. So thanks for being up here, and feel free again to jump in and contribute to the conversation that we're about to have. So pumped about all of the work that all of those libraries and open source people are using them. It's so cool to see. We have hundreds of stars on a lot of those things, and it's just cool to just have seen happen over the last few months. So thank you for that. Um, and I think we have a couple more people that are in the community that have not spoken yet. So Ryan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Ryan. I've been a part of Developer DAO probably since November. Kind of was lucky enough to find my way in and mint one of the Genesis NFTs. I've mainly been focusing on sort of what product and product management looks like within a community of developers, keeping things decentralized, but also supporting sort of this champion role that we've established for people owning projects, really taking ownership in the DAO for something, because our community is only going to be as strong as the people that take ownership for building it. And so my main focus has been to see how I can support them. One thing also, so I'm helping an amazing team lead the job board project. That's something that we're building for the community to connect them with outside companies, because at the end of the day, we really want people to be able to get hired in the Web3 space and make that transition from maybe a more classic role in Web2 or outside of Web2. Maybe they're just now becoming technical, and we're really building with them in mind and our members in mind of how best can we help them get into Web3. And then besides that, helping launch the Developer DAO podcast with a few series, one of them on Web3Con, actually, a little mini series speaking with the partners and sponsors and the team that has done an incredible job putting this together. And then also turning inwards and trying to tell a story of some of the better contributors within the DAO. One person is M, who has been holding a weekly call talking about mental health and burnout. And so just to kind of give a voice to those stories, because I don't know, I love this community. So it's been an honor to be a part of it.
Awesome, man. Thanks for the intro, and glad you're up here as well. So I know that we have a couple of other people up here as well, so I'm going to go ahead and invite them to introduce themselves. Nazi.
Hello everyone. Am I audible properly?
Yes.
Hey, Nader. My name is Nazi Hora and I am from India. I would like to share my journey along with Developer DAO. So last year I started my Solidity journey by learning Solidity, and after that I developed couple of projects. After which they were told that from the person whom we have learned Solidity created a DAO, and he had already joined by that time. So I also joined after his recommendation, and it turned out that it was a really good decision of me to join the DAO. And I after joining the DAO, I came in contact a lot of good and great people who has helped me a lot in developing some of the great projects. Initially, I started by developing the developer DAO website, and after that I contributed to the DAO job board, and then I'm currently contributing to web3 UI library, which I think that is a great library and would be a great help, would provide a great help to the people. So I think that developer DAO has provided me a platform to build such a good thing and at such a great level. Another thing that after joining DAO, I have come in contact of a lot of great people like Nader, Vithat, and so many people I can't like count, and that has provided me a lot of uh, good opportunity as a professionally and as a learner also. So I would like to thank Nader and all the other people from the DAO, and yeah, that's from my side.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the intro, and I'm happy to have you up here. I'm not sure if I've missed anyone else that is up on stage that is part of the DAO that wants to introduce themselves. So if you're on stage right now and you're part of the DAO, feel free to introduce yourself. If you're not part of the DAO, we'll bring you up here, or we'll get you in just a moment to ask a question.
Hi, good morning. This is Justin Singh speaking. May I pitch in right now? I am part of
Yes.
the DAO. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm more of a consumer of the DAO than a creator for the DAO, but I did want to give a heads up for my Dev Intel, which is next week. So thank you, Narb, for the opportunity. My Dev Intel will be detailing a utility web application I built for an NFT collection on the Tezos blockchain. And I kind of think that building utility web apps for NFT collections is an underrated way of building something within the space, because NFTs, to build something on an NFT collection, is permissionless. And I don't see a lot of people simply going out of their way to just build something for an NFT community. So I wanted to use my Dev Intel to detail my journey of doing that. Again, it was built on the Tezos blockchain. That's also kind of a blockchain that's less spoken about. So I'll be giving information on that and some of the design choices that arose from that. So, like I said, I'm more of a consumer of the DAO. Throughout my time of building that application, I actually got some help from people within the community of DevDAO, and they guided me through a new tech stack that I was learning at the time. So, yeah, that is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, Dev and Tell, love it. If anyone that hasn't participated in it before, wants to kind of do something cool, definitely check those out. What's the best place to kind of keep up with all of those that are happening? Which channel in the Discord?
Yeah, so there's actually a Dev Intel channel in the developer guild section of channels. So that's typically the best place to check that out. All the resources are there, pinned to the channel. I did also share the wiki as well in the developer voice chat or developer voice text. So again, like all the overview of what it is, what's it about, and all the people who signed up are there. And the other way to keep tabs on things is I typically play the role of the hype man. So I'll tweet out midweek and the day of to get the word out and share your Twitter handle and your project if it's shareable. So those are at the moment the mediums of ways for people to kind of keep the tab on things. But thank you very much, Justin, for stepping up. It's going to be a great one. I know it.
So there's a few people that are lined up to come on stage, but I can't add them. I think we've hit our limit right now. So we'll just hang out there and we'll bring you up here in just a moment and maybe ask a couple of people to step down the road. But I think the thing that we'll get to first is kind of answering a couple of questions that we've seen responded in the thread that we tweeted out. And if you have any questions, feel free to kind of go to the last tweet that we sent out and drop them there. But I think the first point that we'll start discussing is when will developer DAO memberships open back up? Because when we created this, the way that you got in was that you minted an NFT for free. You did have to pay the gas, which kind of is a little different than a lot of DAOs. When they start, they need to build a treasury, so they typically start with some NFT that costs money, and they use that money in the treasury to kind of like build everything out from there. But due to really a couple of different reasons, we decided to go a different route, or I decided to go a different route. One of them being that I feel like the barrier to entry by having to kind of pay $500 or $200 or $300 on top of the gas fees was just not accessible for most people. I mean, we were already on the Ethereum blockchain, which at the time was like $20 or $30 to pay gas, and that's gone up to like $50 or $60 to mint the NFT. So we decided to kind of figure out the treasury part later and just allow anyone to kind of join. And then over the course of like a couple of months, we ran out of the NFTs, and therefore like that's what the Discord is the token gated as. And at that point, we essentially closed memberships because there was no more NFTs to kind of mint. You could get them off the secondhand market, but we were kind of trying to figure out whether or not we wanted to enable people to kind of speculate on the token, because like the one thing that you see that is, I think, different from a lot of communities is that we don't really focus on pricing and speculation and trading. Like we have a trading channel, but like other than that channel, I don't think I've really ever seen a lot of discussion around speculation, and everyone there is just building and creating stuff. So like due to the nature of that kind of community that we wanted to build, like we were trying to figure out ways to kind of not have a ton of people speculating. And therefore, like there were people who bought like 70 or minted like 70 tokens. And if the price of those tokens goes up to like, $1,000, then someone essentially just like, used the community and made like 70 grand off of it, like, which might be okay. I don't know. But to me, it just felt wrong. So we decided to kind of just halt memberships at the time. But we've kind of had a lot of discussion in the community, and we've actually put up like a discussion and a vote, and what the community has kind of come up with at this point. And we have to actually snapshot vote this, so this isn't like confirmed. But what we're leaning towards is we're going to be opening the Discord and the community back up to anyone that holds that token. So you can now either get it off the secondhand market or have someone that's a friend in the DAO to kind of like send it to you, and then you can use that to get in. We also are doing an ERC20 token, and we're setting aside a large number of those tokens to be gifted as scholarships. So we're going to be able to kind of just give entry for free to people. They won't even have to pay the gas. The number one thing that I'm interested in is accessibility and kind of lowering the barrier to entry to these types of communities and giving equity. So what does that mean? Well, we have a few $100,000 in our treasury, like liquid, I would say, due to some sponsorships as well as a partnership with Gitcoin. We're going to use some of that money to kind of pay the gas to just give people entry, and that therefore they're going to be given like tokens or an ERC 721, which is the NFT, and they're going to have something that's worth money that they can decide to sell one day if they want to leave the community, and or maybe give it to someone else, or they can stay and kind of be a part of it and help build it up. There's a lot of interesting questions around like why do you need a token, or what's the point of having any equity at all? And I think like what we've seen is that when people have skin in the game and they're building something that they can one day decide that if this isn't for them, that they can actually get some of that return on investment of their time and their life, then it provides like a new incentive mechanism that you don't see in a lot of other communities. So I guess to make the long story short, the official opening of the memberships back up hasn't been voted on, but what we're leaning towards is if you pick up one of these tokens on OpenSea, you'll be able to get in today. We're about to open up some scholarships, and you can get in for free if you apply for one of those and you're selected. And we have a couple of things that we're trying to figure out around who we're going to be kind of like accepting. A big focus for us is diversity and inclusion. So we're going to have a large percentage of those set aside for underrepresented communities. We also want to keep in mind that we want to bring in people that maybe haven't had a ton of opportunities before, but they show a lot of potential. So like, hopefully we'll put together like a group of people that makes that decision, and it's not only up to one person. Now, I want to talk about something that I'm going to do, because I haven't really spoken about this publicly, but I have spoken about it in the moderators channel. So we're launching an ERC20 token, and the ERC20 token is, you know, like essentially a cryptocurrency, you could say, but it's used for us as a governance token. And part of the token allocation essentially gives like you know, a large number of tokens to the core team, the founding team, also to all the people that have like helped build the community up until this point. All of this is going to be kind of like voted on using something like Coordinate. But like part of what most DAOs do is they give like a decent amount to the founding team. So what I've decided to do is I'm actually going to be pledging to give away 100% of my tokens. So I've already kind of talked about this in the moderators channel, but I haven't talked about this publicly yet. But like a lot of people, when they create these types of communities, they talk about they want to kind of do something good for the world, and they want to kind of like, you know, be a positive force. But at the end of the day, a lot of them are just like doing get rich quick schemes, and they're just trying to make money. And I think like we have a huge opportunity here to kind of like set an example that that's not what we're doing. And I think to lead by example, I don't want anyone in the community to do this, because I have a job that pays me really well, and I can afford to kind of not need any of these tokens. But I'm basically going to be giving all of these tokens away to people to bring them in the community. Also to maybe like do some retroactive funding for people that I feel like were unfairly compensated for the work that they've done. All of this will be publicly visible on chain, and I'm excited to be kind of like doing that. I feel like it'll possibly be a good way for me to kind of give back, but also kind of prove and kind of like set an example for future DAOs that, you know, it doesn't have to all be about speculation. You can actually build equitable communities, like try to not go by what everyone else is doing. You know, like I think some of the mistakes that we made early on were by looking at what other DAOs were doing and kind of like following their footsteps, when in reality we're in such like a brand new space that that we can make decisions that kind of set the path for other people versus kind of letting other people dictate what we're going to do. So that's kind of like, you know, my long answer to that. So yeah, we're going to be opening them back up officially soon. There's going to be a bunch of ways to get in. Hit me up if you want to kind of like be given some tokens, either through the scholarship, or just I'll just give them to you. You can do whatever you want with them. I would love for you to stay in the DAO, but if you come in and you don't feel like you like it and you want to sell them or you want to give them away, like whatever. So that's kind of it. Anyway, so with that being said, that was a very long answer to that question, but also kind of an announcement for me. And hopefully, you know, we can kind of like have a year from now look back on everything that we've done and have something like really wild and successful. If we just continue down the path, like I'm pretty sure that's what we'll be. So if anyone has a question that's up here or has a comment, feel free to jump in. If not, we'll kind of start getting to some additional questions. So, Rahat, do you want to talk about Web3Con?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thank you, Nader, for creating this platform for me to be able to like lead this initiative on. So the initial ideas for Web3Con, we were kind of like talking about them in like the moderator channel, like kind of like, you know, yeah, it would be cool to have an event. It would be cool to like do something, to have something for like the developers in the space. And it was just an idea. And I just thought like, okay, we just need somebody to like start really executing on this. So I started that initiative. I was like, okay, let's just get people together in the DAO. Let's start building this. And a lot of the people on this call right now have been super helpful with all of that. So I just wanted to shout out like Daiwat, Isaiah, Narb, who's been awesome with like helping us get like the stuff for the hackathon kind of in there, kind of sorted out. And yeah, so there's going to be like a week-long hackathon before the conference happens. There'll be some cool prizes there. We'd love to see as many people as possible in there building. You do not have to be part of the DAO to participate. Although the conference is being put on by the developer DAO in general, membership of the DAO is not necessary to participate. Membership of the DAO is not necessary to participate in any of the conference events or anything like that. So we're going to have speakers, workshops, in addition to that hackathon as well. And like I said, that CFP is open. Please go submit. And yeah, I mean, it's coming up very soon. It's going to be in March. Everything's going to be virtual, so you can watch everything from the comfort of your home. We're also going to be having a cool virtual space using a platform called Gather.town. So you can like literally go in. It's like a little video game-ish environment where you walk around, talk to people. You can actually interact with other people in the conference that way. So we're trying to like recreate a little bit of that like hallway conversations that happen in like real life conferences. And yeah, we're hoping that, you can come in, talk to people there, talk to the sponsors who are also going to be in there, and learn about different things in the Web3 space.
Awesome. Yes. So if you want to learn more, definitely follow Rahat, follow Web3Con, follow any of the people that he mentioned that are helping out. If you want to speak, the CFP is still open, right? You said?
Yep, CFP is open. I shared it. It's in one of those little bubbles at the top of the spaces. So yeah.
Dope. So it looks like a couple of people that are up here have not spoken yet, and a few people have dropped off stage. So Recursive, do you want to jump in, or have you? I can't remember if you've given your intro yet.
Hey guys, I haven't given my intro. I've been a long time developer DAO lurker, learned a lot from there. I haven't been participating in a lot of activities there, but I've learned a lot from there. And I'm traditionally been working in trap tech, slowly making my way to Web3, just learning, learning about Solidity, learning about Ethereum, blockchain, React.js, and I'm traditionally coming from a backend background, databases and sysadmin type, but looking to get some full-time role in the Web3 and blockchain space. Really happy to be here. And Nadir, you were actually one of the first inspirations I had when you left AWS and made that video. And that is what got started me thinking like, hey, maybe I can make the same move.
That's awesome. I mean, I love to hear the story about like the seeing that and making the change, because that's pretty cool whenever I hear that. And you don't have to be active to be part of the DAO. I think like being there and being present and like jumping in when the time feels right. I feel like there's all types of levels of participation. You can come in and like be a core team member or a moderator or whatever, or you can come in once every month or two and just check all of the conversations happening. So I think everyone's equally like valued and appreciated. So thanks for being, I guess, part of the community. Looks like Rivet, you have your hand held up, so feel free to jump in.
Hi, question for Rahat. I'm curious about sponsorship opportunities for the hackathon and for the conference. Is there anything available, and where can I get more information about that?
Yeah, so if you go to web3con.dev, there is a section to request some sponsorship details. We're mainly looking right now for folks who want to sponsor booths. We do have like
Did he drop off for anyone else?
Yeah, it went
I
off for
lost
me
him.
as
He
well.
dropped off.
Yeah, he's gone.
But I just gave you a follow. I can send you the information that we have for sponsorship opportunities, and then put you in touch with one of the people who's leading that initiative for
Fantastic.
Web3Con.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right.
All
I
right.
just wanted. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
what's up?
I didn't mean to. I just wanted to say real quick. Shout out to Nader, obviously, and to Rahat. Originally, Nader somehow appeared in my Twitter feed like a year-ish ago. Then I reached out to him. We actually did a podcast together back in the day, Addicted to Learning podcast. And then I got so deep down the rabbit hole, the Web3 rabbit hole, that I actually discontinued my podcast. I abandoned my podcast. I then came across Rahat, and Rahat was so kind to just like mint the developer DAO NFT for me, and just to send it over to me for free. And I'm still honestly very touched that essentially a stranger on the other side of the world would just do that, because even back in the day, maybe it was $20-$30, but still that's like money just to spend on a stranger, to send over this NFT. And I'm just incredibly grateful to be here and to be on this journey with you all. And I just wanted to say that. And again, thanks so much.
That's awesome. Yeah, welcome. And if anyone else also is up here that has not introduced themselves, that wants to, just jump in now, and then if not, I will start answering some of the hand raises.
Yeah, I can introduce myself quickly. I'm an entrepreneur. I did one of the first security token ICOs back in 2017, 2018 Science Token. And it's basically a VC fund that we went through the whole process with our lawyers of becoming a security. And then I sold my company, my tech company, a couple of years ago. That was basically like a social growth company. And then I think the company that I sold it to, actually, we run basically an upgraded version of QR codes, highly designed, and we changed the data patterns up. And I think the thing that I'm facing right now is like how to hire Web3 engineers, best practices there. And then my second question is best way to get involved with the Web3 con. That sounds super cool. Is it a situation where like we would sponsor a hackathon for our product or using our APIs, or how does that work?
Yeah, Isaiah, do you want to jump in, or do you want me to answer?
You can take that. I was just responding to Rivet really quick, but yeah, and then I'll jump in right after.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so are you in the community right now, by the way? Like, do you have access yet?
Not yet, but would love to get access somehow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's a couple of ways to it looks like someone that dropped off is being added back now. Yeah, there's a couple of ways to be involved. I think there's levels of sponsorships. We have the hackathons and stuff, and we also have like some general DAO sponsorships for people that just want to be involved. And I think the best way would be to DM or email someone that's kind of like the main organizer there. I think Rahat would be probably the first point of contact I would talk to, and I think we're like limited to the number of people I can have on stage right now, so I haven't been able to bring him back up, but I'll bring him back up in just a moment. But yeah, there's a couple of ways to be a sponsor. You can either be a sponsor of the DAO itself or of the event. So maybe I can ask Rahat or someone to just to DM you, or you can DM him. Maybe Ryan wants to jump in.
Andrew, I just gave you a follow as well. I was going to put you in touch with Nasir. He's been leading a lot of the like one-to-one DAO to DAO like partnerships and relationships that we've had either with DAOs or other blockchain protocols.
That'd be great. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think the one thing that we're facing is like, one, how to hire more Web3 devs. Sorry, 1 second. One, how to hire more Web3 devs, and then we want to kind of put our foot in the community, because we're not like pitching an NFT project. We're actually more like a distribution layer. Imagine like scanning a QR code off a television and receiving a token via airdrop. There's like problems like that we're trying to solve, but I think it's more of like we're learning, every day. And so, yeah, appreciate the space. It's really helpful to learn.
Yeah, we should definitely discuss hiring in Web3 too, as a topic that will come up, and we can kind of talk about some of our experiences there. I do a lot of hiring at Edge and Node in the Graph, and a lot of people out here probably have experience either hiring or being hired. So I would love to share my thoughts about that. So
I love that.
I appreciate your interest, by the way, in sponsoring.
Yeah,
Can't
just
wait.
to jump in real quick, Andrew, I'll send you a DM because right now we're quite literally building out a tool to connect people looking to hire, developer DAO members, and so I'll send you out a DM and let's chat.
Yeah, that'd be great. And look, a lot of the companies that are like Series B, Series C side are like going to their HR people and they're like, hey, like I need a Solidity dev, or I need Web3 devs, and they're like, okay. And so yeah, that'd be super helpful. Appreciate the help.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry for anyone that's having trouble on Android, by the way. I see some comments that people might be having issues on Android. And I think that's more of a problem that's out of our hands, unfortunately. Alpha Prime.
Yes, you got it. So thanks for having me up. I'm definitely glad to hear that you guys are reopening membership. I've more or less been coding in isolation for a while now, so I think it'd be really cool to join a DAO of fellow developers. So I have a question. It's kind of a technical question about bridging. I've been building out, among other things, DAO infrastructure on the Solana blockchain for a few months now, and I've been talking to a couple of like big PFP communities on Ethereum. And for their DAO infra, like there's definitely interest in having a lot of like the on-chain voting mechanics and delegation potentially happen on one of like the lower costs chains. So does anyone know if there's like a secure solution for bridging between ETH and other chains right now? Like I've heard of Wormhole, but I haven't myself taken a deep dive into any of the bridging technologies, and I just wanted to know if anyone had insight as to whether or not those are actually viable or secure at this point in time.
I personally know that this is an in-demand type of tool or service or protocol. I can't think of a single one right now that I know people are using in production, but I do know of a handful of people that have either been working on or kind of thinking about this problem space. I haven't used Wormhole, but I think for me, I don't know of an answer to that right now. My thought is that it might be something like on one of these zero knowledge chains in the EVM ecosystem, but yeah.
So I just pinned a tweet to the top. It's from Pit the Network, and they also are working with Neon Labs. Neon Labs was working to have like basically help with EVM native apps being built on Solana mainnet. And so I would just take a look at that. There's a lot more information just other than the tweet, but take a look at Neon Labs, and I think they'll probably help you kind of go and lead you in the right direction in regards to finding a solution for that.
All right, bro. Thanks for the info.
Yeah, if Neon can kind of like ship what they're working on, that's going to be really, really wild and dope. Hey, Tom, how's it going? Sorry, I couldn't get you up here earlier because the stage was full.
Yeah, no problem. Maybe I will be dropping off soon due to my Android issue. Yeah, so thanks a lot. First of all, Nadir, you are such an inspiration. So I just wanted to share also just introducing myself. I started learning Web3 a year ago, and then I started learning from Nadir, and I got to Twitter and got interacted with him, and also I scored an internship at Polygon, and which is a huge deal for me. And in the Web3 journey, I started it, and trust me, if I say right now that developer DAO is the best community out there in the Web3, it is not wrong. It is absolutely true. And I have been checking like when the developer DAO membership will get open, like from past 2 to 3 months. Like I have been checking it out, and it is creating a FOMO. And not just me, there are several other peoples and Web3 they really want to join developers DAO, and the awesome work that it is doing. Like also recently saw a tweet that if you are a content creator, if you're doing something, feel free to tag developer DAO, and they will retweet. And so developer DAO is such a great community and such a welcoming community that definitely everyone wants to join. And I also recently heard that you are going to open it, and also there will be some scholarship for underrepresented groups like me. And yeah, thanks a lot for that, and really thank you, Nader, for this developer DAO and inspiring a lot of other people and helping folks in Web3. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words. I mean, the number one thing for me as of right now, taking into consideration everything that we've done, is probably like getting everything in order. So when we open memberships back up, we can kind of have the most functioning community for all of the actual things that we want to get done. And I feel like we're almost there. And like, I really would love to actually open it up myself, but it's not even up to me. Like I actually proposed something to go ahead and open it up, like immediately, since we've kind of come to that decision anyway. But like as the, because it's a DAO, it's not really up to me. It's kind of like a community decision. And it sounds like everyone is kind of thinking we're going to wait a couple more weeks, maybe. It's not going to be a whole lot, but it should be open up very soon. And we just want to make it to where when we do open it up, we have kind of all of the different processes and infrastructure in place to make sure that everything continues to function well. We already have like 5,000 people in there. I'm assuming we'll get another a few thousand that join after that. So to kind of handle and scale what we have, we just want to make sure everything is in order. But definitely hit me up when we open back up. I will do my best to kind of get you in there in some form or fashion. So yeah, let's see here. I see a bunch of people that are wanting to come up here and talk. If anyone that's up here does not have any more comments or questions, feel free to kind of drop and I'll add other people. But if you want to continue being a part of the conversation, feel free to stay here. So I will go ahead and let a couple of new people up here. All right. I'm not sure if it's going to let me add all those people, but we'll see. So if Javon can hear me and wants to kind of ask their question or just make a comment, feel free to jump in.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I pronounced
It's
your name right.
Javon, and I'm highly interested in what Andrew was talking about. We're a crypto mining operation out of Washington, but we're highly interested in what you guys are going to be doing with the Web3 conference, because we're facing the same thing. Andrew, I'm working with Inspirity as my virtual HR, and I luckily have been in this space for quite a while, but I've got some access to developers that happen to have some specialty. I was at Intel for a while, and then was working in the Valley for about 5 years, working in startups. So been with Y Combinator, and most of my documentation and everything, most of my administrative back end is kind of coming out of stuff from Y Combinator, or a combination thereof with Techstars out of Austin, Texas. But I'm actually facing a big problem with commercial banking right now, and basically working between either Silvergate or Cross River, as far as trying to get a bank that's willing to kind of work with us in the Web3 space commercially. But yeah, always happy to come up to spaces like this, and we're actively on the hunt for events, especially in the Web3 space. So I already added a follow, but I'd love to find out more information on possible opportunities that are there.
That definitely. I can kind of say that there is the existing, Ethereum and Solana and all those conferences, of course, that we've kind of seen in the past. But there's also a few of the traditional Web2, quote unquote, conference organizers that are now putting on Web3 events. Some of them have been announced. Most of them have not yet been announced. So some of the bigger conference organizers in Europe are actually doing some now Web3 conferences. I've been helping them out, kind of strategy and getting speakers and stuff. I even have a forum that I tweeted out that is kind of like a call for paper for anyone just looking to kind of get in the speaker circuit. So if you're looking to kind of get involved, check out my timeline. It's probably yesterday, the day before that I tweeted out. You can just submit your info, and then you'll be in the running for like 5 or 6 conferences. There's ETH Dubai, which is kind of the creator of React Paris or React Europe in Paris. He's doing ETH Dubai. I think that you might hear something cool from the founder of Render ATL soon. And yeah, there's all types of Web3 conferences, and a lot of them are going to be announced now in the next couple of weeks. So just keep an eye out for that. But we'd love to have people involved in Web3 Con. Believe it or not, we're already kind of getting to the point where we're like almost booked up with all of the available slots. So if you are interested in, being a part of that, try to get with us this week before we're kind of like, wrapped up on that. So thanks for the question. So the next person Revit, do you have a comment?
I just wanted to real quick, because I want to make some space for other people to come up here, say thanks for doing what you guys are doing. I literally stumbled across your DAO this morning when I saw this space on Twitter, and we're pursuing a very, very similar objective, opening up Web3 and making it accessible to new developers. So I just want to say thanks for doing what you're doing, and I'll be in touch more, but we definitely need to talk more because I want to help. So
we'd love to collaborate. There's so many, people that are going to be onboarding into this space, and we can't have enough public goods, education, opportunities. There's Odyssey DAO. There's like Learn Web3 DAO. There's going to be more of them, and we want to work with as many as we possibly can. There's Web3 baddies. There's like a lot of really, really cool groups out there. So yeah, definitely reach out to us whenever you're ready to figure out how we can collaborate. So
absolutely. Well, thank you very much for the time and for the opportunity to speak.
Thanks for coming up. So it looks like my friend Aura Glitch, he's part of the DAO, but he's also one of my friends from like way back. He actually was the first person I ever worked with when I was like getting my first job in California, and I'm not going to dox him unless he wants me to. So welcome to the stage.
Please don't. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's been a wild ride for sure. It's Developer DAO is like, I don't know, I feel like it's always been that missing link, even being within, Los Angeles, like back in the day where, everything felt disjointed, but now, there's like a community where everybody's connected, no matter where we are on the planet, so just excited to be a part of the journey, excited to contribute. My whole thing, like Nader said, we've been developing things for a long time, but yeah, my whole thing is just, the intersection of connecting the real world with the metaverse. So that's, for me, I haven't been as active in Developer DAO other than just like retweeting things and things of that nature, just because I've been building so many other things. But yeah, I'm just looking to dive into the guilds at some point, but I'm just happy to it's just encouraging to hear from everybody.
Dope. Yeah, love to have happy to have you part of the community, and someone with the level and length of your experience, and the nature of kind of, I know how you've gone out in the past to be involved in community events, and you're one of the people that introduced me to like meetups and stuff back in the day. So yeah, thanks for coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like we have a couple people that have been on stage, and then I just now added a few more people. So I'm going to ask Eth Anglia to come up.
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, East Anglia. We're a small part of England, if just above London. I think that's always the best way to describe it. So thanks ever so much for putting this on, and also for inviting me up. I really appreciate that. And in fact, when I read to accelerate the education of Web3 builders, I was like, oh, this is exactly what we're trying to do. So I won't try and shill the project too much, but essentially. I just wanted to understand your thoughts, really. We're going to be hosting live boot camps as part of really trying to promote Web3 in the region and out of London region, really, which is something a little bit new, and do that via scholarships. But I think that the easy piece is getting 2.0 builders and converting them to 3.0. But I don't think that that's the super inclusive way of doing it. I just wondered really what your thoughts were on how we can take people not 0 to 1 but 0 to 3, and if there's a model in place. We talked about placements of people into jobs, of how you guys are looking to recycle the funding maybe from people that take employees on. Is there a model there? Because that's really where we're banging our heads against the wall at the moment, really, on making sure that we can create a sustainable model. We've got the scholarship set up at the front, but that sustainability piece.
Isaiah or anyone that's up here, feel free to jump in. If not, I'll share my thoughts. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't want to be the one overtaking all of these conversations. So if anyone wants to jump in anytime and share their thoughts, feel free. Jatine, did you have a comment?
Hi guys. Thank you for adding me. It is the first time I'm adding listening to any spaces like that, and I'm a full stack developer for quite a long time and quite new to this Web3 crypto space, learning a lot by following all the tutorials, and great to hear you, Nader, in live rather than your videos. So yeah, quite excited for this journey, and waiting for the developer DAO membership so that I can join and contribute more on my side and keep learning every day. And especially I would like to say one thing. In the last 10 years, I have been into Web 2, but the Web 3 transformation has pushed that much adrenaline in me that it's now I'm into a learning phase. So that's the best thing I learned. I have been in Web 3. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you for coming up and speaking. And I know it's probably a little bit nerve-wracking to be speaking for the first time on one of these. So you did great. And if you have anything else to chime in with, feel free to jump in. And I'll try to address the question now from Ethan Anglia. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is to kind of like get people from 0 to 3 or to what's the best form of onboarding people. But I think the one thing that I have noticed that's worked is, and one unique opportunity I think that we're seeing, or I wouldn't say it's like completely unique to Web3, but it's the nature of how a lot of the teams and projects and people like are focused on that are in this space for the good things are kind of focused on public goods and giving things away for free and making information accessible and public for free. So I think that what we're seeing with a lot of the grants and stuff coming from these different protocols is that they're literally just giving money to people to build public goods and to build free educational materials, whether or not it helps them or not. Because I think that in the past, like if you're going to be getting a consulting gig from like AWS or like a traditional company, like to do some educational material, and then you took that money and like wrote something that just helped someone that had nothing to do with what they were doing, then like you wouldn't be praised for that and you probably wouldn't get your contract renewed. But if you took some money from the graph and you created like 5 tutorials and like literally like 1 or 2 of them was on the graph and like 2 or 3 of them were on something completely different, but they were just helping Web3, or you submitted a proposal that had nothing to do with the graph but was good for the Web3 the community in general, like you would be given that money and you would be praised and appreciated for that. So I think like the idea of public goods funding from all these protocols and like trying to find ways to just create as much free educational material, open source projects, having all of these smart contracts that are running and composable, like just kind of drives this like nature of innovation. So when we're thinking about how are we going to ask someone that's kind of interested in this space to kind of like go from 0 to 1 or 0 to 3, I think that like there's so much that needs to be learned, I would say, as a developer, that's hard to kind of focus on everything. So I think like you could take the traditional path as a front end developer maybe and just learn like JavaScript, CSS, HTML, and you can still build, or work for a Web3 quote unquote team, because now you're maybe not building out a smart contract, but you're participating in some community owned project or something like that. So I think it's like, I don't have a clear answer, but I would say the one thing that I like that we're seeing in Web3 is kind of this idea of public goods funding, where people are just taking money and giving it to people that are kind of creating public goods that are for the greater good versus that are just focused on making users for that individual protocol.
Yeah, and to build on what Nate was saying earlier, just about like the public good funding. I know Gitcoin DAO is really focused primarily on that, and one of the other I would say platforms or one of the other builders build space. I really like how they have created these quests and kind of these challenges around different blockchain protocols and people completing tasks or building things in Web3. And I would say, and I guess anybody can chime in, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like that's one of the primary ones I would, encourage people to start with. And then, yeah, as it was mentioned earlier, Gitcoin has, whether it's hackathons, there's bounties, there's just different, I would say, opportunities just on Gitcoin.co alone to, build, on top of other blockchain protocols, even outside of Ethereum, and also be compensated for that time, right? So I think that's just another on ramp that I think people who are developing in Web2 can look into to transition into Web3.
Yeah, so sorry to dive in. I hope that was okay. Sorry, I guess I should have waited to be asked. Sorry. I completely agree with both of those. And on the public good space, we've been fortunate enough to be recipient of grants to be able to put people through that as well. I think the real thing for me is about sustainability in this. There's always going to be developers in this space. Look at developers in the 2.0 space, developers in a tech space. The demand for developers is huge and forever growing. And what I really love about Web3 is the fact of exactly that. It's actually a community based across even companies. What I'm hoping to see and what we're hoping to build, and our vision for it, I guess, is if you take a graduate that's come through the program, you don't have to. You might be a bootstrap startup or something like that, but when you have the opportunity, you pay that forward in creating a new dev that's maybe not even for you in the future. And I think that once we get to that point, that for me is when, it's reciprocity, it's an additive approach, and all we're doing is continuing that, conveyor belt of talent coming into the space. But for me, the real key in this is all, again, it comes back to that 2.0 to 3.0. I think that's quite easy. I think if you're speaking to a lot of people in tech at the moment, they see the opportunity and they see where this is going, and there's a lot of people wanting to get on board with that. For me, the real key is, we've got a lot of really poor areas in the UK up by the coast where, it used to be everyone in the UK would go up to the coast and spend their time there, and the community and the economy has just completely collapsed. And unfortunately, that's a much longer journey, as you alluded to, of actually getting involved, becoming almost a 2.0 dev before you can start getting into a 3.0 dev. And really, for me, that's the quick wins and the low-hanging fruit is the 2.0 to 3.0 route. But I think the bigger gains and the bigger societal gains are actually how do we go and attract talent that also gives a much wider voice, a much stronger voice, and a different experiential background, and take them through and get them on this journey as well, because that's the sort of environment as well where they're going to pay it forward in the future, because I speak about my education, my background. I was lucky enough to be sponsored and go through my education, and heck, I always say if we can help one person and take them through something, we've done a great job, right?
And that's
Yeah,
why like governance is so important. Like governance is very critical, right? To that, speaking to that point, like that's why the DAO treasury funds and making sure that they're set up properly, that governance is taken seriously from day one and it's well thought out prior to even like onboarding people, right? Those things are extremely, extremely critical. And I would say like that's the way you solve those solutions. That's this thing that Web3 does that I would say you haven't necessarily been able to see in Web2. Is like, I guess in Web2 you're hoping that people are good stewards of the finances and that they operate with accountability. But in Web3, you can write that into the smart contracts. You can add that into the governance and put those, those things in place so that way you don't have to worry about, it not being sustainable. It's built that to be sustainable. And then I would also say too, like, everybody's not necessarily going to jump into Web3 and want to be a dev. There's so many other roles that people will need to fill to order for Web3 to continue to grow. You need people in marketing, you need people in project management, you need people who are really focused on community. You need people with legal backgrounds to kind of help navigate the space from that standpoint. So I would say like, just allowing people to kind of come into Web3 and find where they feel like their talents best match, what they're interested in, and it can add the most value. I would say, do that, because I think like I constantly see projects that are looking for more people, who are working in say like business operations or marketing or even community or say even UI design, right, rather than just engineers. And so I think encouraging people from Web 2 or who are working in tech or say just in other marketing agencies to come into Web 3 and not be intimidated by just say new terminology, because a lot of it is once you kind of get I would say a solid foundational understanding of the space, people pick up on it pretty quickly. Learning curves drastically reduced.
So Elizabeth has had her hand up, and then I'll get next to Kid Me and also Tech Talks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me up here. Appreciating the space today, loving the energy, the conversations, learning a lot. New to Developer DAO, just recently found out about it. I live in Miami. We're big on Web3 right now, kind of growing the ecosystem, and it's all about education right now. And I'm a community supporter, just like Isaiah was saying. That's kind of my role, trying to educate more people as possible. I learned through kind of, like I'm sure most of everyone in Web3, figuring it out, making mistakes, diving in. And one of the challenges we're experiencing here is really educating a very not so technical community, some underrepresented represented communities. I'm Hispanic myself, I'm Cuban, and there's like another community around that as well that really wants to dive in and learn, but there aren't enough resources in different languages or even taught in a different English, in a little less technical English. And so kind of learning around that and how to kind of create tools. We did do a NFT Basel in December, and that gained a lot of attention. And now we're going to do another one this year. So we are doing conferences to educate, and we're doing literally as much as we can. We host a Women in Web3 group, and we're taking in anything that we can provide to the community as educational resources so that they don't make as many mistakes as some of us have made earlier on. But just wanted to kind of thank you guys for what you're doing. Appreciate any feedback, any lessons learned along the way. I think that's how we can support and help each other. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. Miami is definitely having a lot going on. Have you connected with Michelle from the Developer DAO and also from React Miami?
Yes, I love them. I work with them a lot. They're amazing. We're actually in the Women Web3 group together. So yes, React Miami is coming soon. So definitely, we also have Michelle Abbs, who runs the Women in Web3 group here. All great resources locally. Takes a tribe.
That's awesome. Yeah, if there's anything that we can do to help out or collaborate in any way, feel free to reach out to me or anyone in the DAO, and we'd love to figure something out.
Thank you. Absolutely. I definitely will. There will be some opportunity for as much help as possible coming soon. We're kind of preparing a couple things that we need to do on the back end, but we are kind of doing these little spot things here and there where we're hosting small events, 60 people, just to provide free education, and trying to literally sponsor it ourselves or just helping each other. If we know someone has a space, that's kind of the Miami vibe here. We all just help each other. So I welcome it all. And if anyone wants to chat on the side, happy to. Thanks again for having me up.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. We have a few more people that have not spoken yet that have their hands raised up. And I actually have made Isaiah the co-host because I'm going to be stepping away for a moment. But I first wanted to ask, Isaiah, are you okay with co-hosting for about 15 minutes, maybe longer? If not, I can continue to hang out.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. I was trying to take it off mute, but yeah,
okay.
I can do that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna hand it off to you, and then I will come back. So, yeah, I'll be listening in there.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So, can you let me know if you have any issues bringing people on stage or anything like that?
Okay, we'll do. I'm trying to remember who was next. I think it was either Shamin or Clinton. Let me know if I'm mispronouncing anybody's name. So, yeah.
No, you pronounced it right. My name's Shamin. So I wanted to hop in here because I'm launching my own DAO, which I plan to publicly announce, and I'm working on getting the website ready this month. I'm just kind of interested in, how people are actually administrating things with their DAOs. How are you guys actually getting people to work together and collaborate, what kind of tech stacks you guys have, because it's so many different things that can go into running an organization. And it's like with the DAOs, it's meant to be decentralized, but you also want to be efficient as far as how you run things. So I'm just curious of how people are approaching it realistically and with actual, how you actually administrating things.
I just pinned a tweet to the top of the space, and basically it's a post from Snapshot Labs. I know they're one of the many DAO tools that DAOs are using to kind of handle governance and just even moderating things in Web3. But yeah, I would definitely and I could send you different I guess other tools and other platforms and just even other thought leadership pieces around that sort of thing. But that's where governance and just I guess building with that core team that you're building the DAO with, like having those conversations and talking with other people as well, and I guess kind of coming into it open mind, but also understanding too that things are still fluid in the space, and so not that you have to follow any trends. I think Nader was saying it earlier. It's like with Developer DAO, like there was a thought that we would have to go about it the way that other DAOs had, and it's like no, you can build it a totally different way that's unique to your community, your use case. And so I would say, yeah, if anybody else has any thoughts on it, I guess, yeah, there's a few other hands raised. I know other people definitely have thoughts on governance.
I actually had a question, I guess just pertaining over to regarding developer DAO. So I'm actually, been in the space for a little bit, been, looking at a couple different DAOs. A lot of my friends have actually recommended developer DAO. So I guess like my first question would be, I guess someone mentioned in the room that you guys are reopening entry. So I didn't even know if like you guys were like stopping entry. So wanted to see how, I can get involved there. And then also we host a lot of different Clubhouse rooms. Over on Clubhouse, we actually are the top tech club, and we've been doing a lot of different Web3 discussions and trying to bridge over to the Twitter Spaces realm. I was wondering if there was any like room within Developer DAO in terms of like, broadcasting into other spaces, being interoperable, like let's say on LinkedIn Audio. Like, is that something Developer DAO is currently looking to do while also be on spaces or?
Hey, so I just gave you a follow back. I can definitely share information with you in regards to partnerships that the Marketing Business Development Guild is focused on. And there's people who are definitely not only on Twitter and Twitter Spaces, but are active in Clubhouse as well that I can link you with so that way you guys can have those conversations further. But I think David had his hand, well, I guess Kalin had his hand. And Shamin, I know you asked that question. I didn't know if there was.
Yeah. I'll address Shamin's question.
Ryan.
So
Okay, cool.
I'm coming from an operations and coordination point of view, and I won't name any tools because ultimately the tools are secondary to the people and the goals that you set with the people and your relationships with those people. The tools can help you, but an infinite number of tools will just weigh you down if you don't have relationships with people and a shared concept of what your goals are. If you have a shared concept and a shared commitment to your goals, then the tools become important. But having a team that's committed to a vision comes first, for sure.
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, Shamin, like, yeah, once you've decided, those initial members, having those conversations, planning, strategizing, like, taking, different, I guess, things that inspired you from other DAOs, but not necessarily boxing yourself into those governance rules that maybe those DAOs set in place. And yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, just being open-minded and being willing to try something that others have not tried just yet.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Isaiah and Ryan.
That definitely gives me a little bit of perspective because you guys are right. As far as the actual DAO goes, the administration and the technical side is really supposed to take a back seat to the actual mission of the DAO. So I agree with that.
Yeah, it's like, coming up with your business strategy before you pick your tech stack. So, yeah.
So I had a quick question, real quick, kind of along the lines of what Angela was. I'm probably butchering that, but what you were talking about. So I'm new and self-taught as far as I've gone in full stack development. I was kind of inspired by Web3 to get into it, so I'm trying to figure out just from you guys up on the stage, and if anybody wants to hit me in my DMs from the audience. What's the best way to go about getting more educated? I see the boot camps and stuff that have popped up, but of course, like we were just talking about scholarships, a lot of those are like 15K. So if anybody can point me in the right direction of maybe some cheaper boot camps, or maybe I don't even need to go the boot camp route if I'm already doing some things self-taught as it is. So I was just looking for some guidance about that.
I get this question a lot. So it's the answer is actually kind of the same as the last answer. So it's about your goals. Education is really good. I've been training developers for a really long time, and developers who have a personal goal that they're trying to achieve learn 10 times faster and achieve 10 times more when they have a concrete, personal, specific goal. If your goal is just education, there's actually nothing wrong with that. And I commend you if you're just about education. But even if your goal is simply to educate yourself, then I would suggest that you will still achieve that goal faster by picking a concrete performance goal that you can work towards, like building a specific tool for yourself. Because the space is wide open, as you've seen. There's a million different curricula, there's a million different boot camps. I could rattle off a name of 10, but they're meaningless to you and you'll forget them instantly if you're not applying them to something. So that's the first step, is like pick something that you want to see and then try to make it. And even if you don't achieve making it, you will learn the important parts to making it, and you will learn the fundamentals of the field way faster than if you're taking like a survey approach where you just read instead of do. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of how I've been going about it. I guess I was just concerned. It might be imposter syndrome, but like I've built some things and I just kind of cobbled my way through different tutorials and stuff like that, and I figured it out. But I just felt like being able to write the code from scratch without having to Google anything or
Oh
just
man,
sit
let me
there at the
stop you
keyboard and
right
like
there.
tap tap tap.
Let me stop you right there. I have never in my life written a program where I didn't have to Google very elementary basic things on the path there. And I would defy our audience to produce a senior developer or an architect who had a different experience. You will always need to look things up. The tech will always move faster than your memory. There is absolutely no shame. And I would be deeply concerned if you could write something just like straight from scratch without looking up any of the docs or whatever. That, like, that's I don't know about that. Like, I don't see that as being realistic. So like, if you're looking stuff up, like, so are the rest of us, and absolutely do not worry about that at all. And let me ask you, if you're willing to speak about it on stage, like, what's next? Like, you've got a narrative path that you're on, and like, being a trainee developer is not like where you're trying to end up. Like, what's next for you? Like, how can we get you there today?
So basically, what I'm inspired to do is to, um, I guess, for lack of a better word, to kind of push forward. So first off, I'm African American, so I'm real big on our culture and just making sure our culture isn't forgotten. I'm real heavy into Black Wall Street and Greenwood District. So the project that I started was to create kind of a metaverse atmosphere where the artists that have been in the past, the history, the things that we don't talk about in our history books and stuff like that. There's a place where people can go to learn about this information, to kind of immerse themselves in it, VR wise. So I started off by just creating a VR depiction of a movie theater to play different YouTube videos from different YouTube channels about the Black history. But I would like to actually create a universe out of that and actually partner with different museums and stuff like that to put the stuff on either the blockchain or just in the cloud in general, and just keep it going. That's my inspiration.
Nice.
Yeah, I have with a lot of what you're saying. There's definitely some folks I can plug you in with in the Web3 community who are focused in building in kind of similar areas that you're in. And where are you located, by the way? Where are you in? Are you in Atlanta, or
I'm in Dallas.
you're in Dallas? Okay, perfect, cool. Yeah, no, I could definitely. Yeah, I'm DMing you some people to connect with.
Cool, appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Nice. Looking forward to taking a tour of it.
Actually, I have very beginner, very basic proof of concept up. If you go to dreamland1921.com, that's a little snippet of me trying to teach myself the different, processes. I built the VR theater from scratch myself. Built the React code, put it up on AWS Amplify, figured all that stuff out. So that's just a little snippet of what I did.
Awesome. Checking it out now. I
And are you
haven't been here
familiar
long
with
enough
Build
to.
Space? Are you familiar with Build Space, Colin?
No, I'm not.
Okay, yeah, definitely check out Build Space. Build Space has a lot of different, I would say, like projects that will kind of, I guess, show you even more about. Yeah, I'm gonna DM that to you right now as well. Yep.
Cool. I appreciate that.
So who else has had their hand up here? See a lot of people. I don't want to play favorites because I got here late.
The next person, Heather, I think, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna
Well,
say
no,
that
David. It was
I did
David,
not
and
put
then
my I
Heather.
put my hand up last, so it's yeah.
Yeah, David, I think has had his hand raised the longest.
Okay, great, thanks. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm David Dale from the Dev Guild here at DevDAO, and I wanted to put out there that one of our initiatives is to craft the education experience for our members inside the DAO. So one of the things we're working on is study groups, mentorship pairing, live code sessions, talks, all those kinds of interactive and dynamic things that can really help us as developers or those who are trying to become developers. And what's great about it is it's a community effort where we're taking the input from everyone that wants to contribute to kind of use our experiences trying to study, and some of us who have already gotten into the industry to help others have a good experience, a supportive experience trying to learn how to develop. And as Nader said, things are going to open up in the near future, so hopefully that's something we can continue to polish before new members are added. And as you come in, you can help craft that experience and take part in it with us. One of the things I really think, hearing Colleen's experience and how Ryan commented, before you get into development, sometimes you think it's so high a goal that you kind of put it on a pedestal, and you don't realize that like 90% of what a developer does is Google things. Um, there's so many things like that it just helps to have someone say, hey, this is what it's really like. This is my experience. I'm a former meat cutter. I cut up steaks for 10 years, and now I'm a developer. I have no college degree and no related college degree. So there's sharing those experiences and having that environment where we can do that, I think is going to be a really cool space for people to interact. So hopefully we'll see you all soon in that environment. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Yeah, and building on that, so Developer DAO is working on our developer education program at Developer DAO, and we're also partnered with Gitcoin, and one of our joint initiatives is the Public Goods School, which I was actually just speaking about at Gitcoin, which is why I wasn't here for the start of this space. We're putting together a Web3 and public goods curriculum to bring everybody in to build a better future together, not just technology and not just culture, but democracy and all the tools that we'll need across the world to build better. So education is so important to the space, to the world, and to Developer DAO. So yeah, looking forward to helping that team and seeing everybody else and what we learn and what we create. Thank you, David.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I'm just guessing at who's next. Ready Tech?
Hi, good night. How are you? So, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, great. Great. So yeah, my name is Gam, Ready Tech. I was, like many years before, got into DAOs and blockchain. I had the Caribbean Tech Forum, co-founded with someone to try and help connect diaspora from the Caribbean who had like migrated and had like found themselves established in bigger companies or even regular companies. Like I had people from like Microsoft and at one point the CTO of NPM, and just mentoring the Caribbean folks who couldn't exit the Caribbean yet to get that sort of experience globally. And I see the opportunity now with DAOs to help reboot that, because the problem was like, who can you determine is just speaking from who had skin in the game. And when I first saw Developer DAO, I didn't actually take the NFT because I found like it was still not meeting that goal, which is to try and get folks who in low income economies in, because the price to mint was just too high, even for a Caribbean person. Even though from like American, it's low cost to mint. For them, it was still unempowering. So like the idea of sub DAOs came up in my last hackathon, and I'd really like to get involved with like talking with folks in Developer DAO about like how can we, how can I participate, and how can we get more of these types of folks? Like they're really, really globally class people who just don't have the opportunity because they're just not there. And like Web3 enables that, because you don't have to be physically in a region to get access to the opportunities there. So yeah, I'm really glad that I heard the words diversity and inclusion being part of the goals for Developer DAO. And yeah, if anyone can let me know how to participate. I joined the Discord, but I don't have an NFT, so I don't think I can see anything. So yeah, I'd be really keen to know how to join up and like help contribute there.
Hello. Is anyone here?
Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't know if anybody was hearing me for a second there. Yeah, I can. I'm gonna follow up with who was that? Was that?
Oh, it was just me, Ready Tech.
Yeah, Red Tech. Yeah, I'm gonna follow up with you via DM about some a way to kind of see if we can get you involved a little bit earlier.
Great, thanks so much.
Yep. And Ryan said his phone crashed, so he'll try to come back. But yeah, go ahead, Heather, with your question.
Hey, I think Ethan went first, but I actually do have to drop in 20 minutes, so I can go pretty real quick. Just a little about me. I'm a developer of 4 years, and I'm learning about Web3 on the side. I just got into like investing in crypto a little too late to join the developer DAO, unfortunately. But looking forward to joining when that reopens. My question is kind of about this tension that I feel between my day job as a quote unquote Web2 developer and my pursuits and interests of like Web3. Is it surrounds like how do we can just use 2 and 3 for simplicity? Like how do the two worlds complement each other? And what sort of projects are pushing for the betterment of that dance between 2 and 3? Thinking in terms of like fitness, like, you know, there's the story of like everyone moving to AR, VR, and then their bodies just go to like big, lumpy, squishy things. I'm someone who cares about fitness, and I hope a lot of people also care about like health of my body, breath, soul, optional soul. I don't know. But I am just like interested in those projects, those spaces, and also what people are thinking about this connection between the two, because we often talk about like Web3 as a future, and I totally believe that that becomes like that will be ubiquitous in the way that cell phones are today. But I really love to know like how the two are coexisting, and also addressing like those outlier communities like the elderly and those who are like alternative to tech. So those are my thoughts and questions. Thanks for letting me speak. Great space.
Absolutely. No, that question was great. I know. I think I don't know if anybody who has their hand raised had an answer or response to that question, because I saw the hands go up, right after she asked. So yeah, if anybody has a response to that they want to chime in with.
I was gonna say, Heather, we've talked in another space, and I sent you a message just about. I was at Icon as their project manager for a little while, and basically they're working on cross-chain functionality, and API 3 is another project that is essentially looking to map API projects onto Web3 and onto a blockchain. basically given the components of blockchain and the balance and the ledger system to Web 2.0 projects and offering a level of security. And so there's a lot going on in the identity sector when it comes to identity. There are some front runners in the space. Icon's looking to be one of them, but mostly they're working on cross-chain functionality, and that's not just with protocols. I mean, obviously we're having to, most of the developer space is having to, and obviously go into the fintech space in order to extract those protocols and then be able to make that data worthy and basically easy to work with and functional for the data scientists to basically parse through. But there are a ton of projects I can send you that are basically looking at sectors that are already out there, that are publicly funded companies that are looking to get into the Web3 space, and there are more than you think as you continue to see where the projects are going. Microsoft's spending is now doubling in the Web3 space as of their reports this past week. So if it gives you any sense of where people are starting to spend some of their capital, it's definitely coming to the Web3 space.
Heather, I don't know if this is going to answer the question that you just posed as well around that kind of Web 2, Web 3 intersect, and I guess really that work environment and how you continue to, I guess, feel fulfilled in the workspace whilst not doing a job you love if it's in 2.0, but also being around people that kind of appreciate the opportunity in the Web 3 space. And it's a really interesting dichotomy, I think, that a lot of people are finding in that space at the moment, where they're kind of looking at it and going, "We'll pay the bills, but am I happy?" And I guess that's kind of the thing. One of the things that we've done actually is we've set up an incubator space, which is overtly Web3 friendly, to be honest. And we have a lot of people who are, still doing almost gig work in 2.0 whilst hanging around in Web 3.0 as well. And I guess it's the same thing with everything, isn't it? It's how do you find your tribe and how do you find those people and surround yourselves with that. And I think that it's all easy and it's really nice, and I love the decentralized nature of the fact that we can do it over. It's 5 o'clock in England, 5:45, and I'm speaking to a load of people in America and around the world, and that's great. But I do think that there is a certain opportunity to surround yourself with people in your own space. So I guess it's the same as finding these spaces. It's finding those spaces in the real world as well, and I think that that's super important because whilst this is a great connection and you feel the energy and you feel that connection through this, I think that real world space and that real world connection is really great as well. Meetups and events and opportunities just to even just vent and talk about it and turn around and say, "Oh man, how bad was that?" With other people that are probably having the same frustrations in that space as well is super important. I'm going to have to dive now because it is 5:45, and not to sound too British, but I am going to get fish and chips for dinner tonight, so you can all laugh at me at that. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Thank you so much, Isaiah, for putting on the space. And actually, Colleen, I just wanted to quickly pick up on the whole imposter syndrome thing that you raised earlier. Everyone, I think, that I've spoken to from all walks of life, from people who have been, partners at KPMG to selling their own business through to, just anyone you speak to at some point in their life has had that imposter syndrome. And I think we need to normalize the fact that that's actually just okay, especially in this space that's moving at, wow, what a pace. Like, you're never going to know anything. And sitting, one of my best friends actually guest lectures at one of our local universities, which he finds hilarious because he hasn't actually got a university degree himself. But his whole lecture is just sat doing live coding, and he on purpose sits there with 4 other screens open where he's going to get stuck. And he says one of the best things is when he sits there and goes, I don't know why this is broken. Help me find why this is broken. This is someone that they're getting in to guest lecture. So I think be open, be honest about that. Imposter syndrome, realize that you don't have to know everything all the time, and realize that we're in a space that's just moving super quick. And if we do that, everything's great. Thanks ever so much. I've really got to dive because my wife's going to kill me. I don't get dinner. So bye, everyone.
Bye. Appreciate that. That was great. Now, I think I need, correct me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but thank you for being extremely patient. I know you have your hand raised for quite some time, and you also are, big in the education space when it comes to Web3. So definitely, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Animan. So currently I'm working as a mainframe developer in an investment bank. So I started learning Web3 last year. So while doing so, I realized I need to understand a little bit about the underlying tech blockchain because the transactions are at the core of any blockchain. So I started learning about the basics of blockchain, like how the transactions work. And while doing so, I realized that I need to understand how the transactions are signed and verified under the hood, and I end up implementing my own elliptic curve library, all the mathematical equations and everything. So yeah, I learned a lot in that phase, and then I started creating content. That's just me. If you are into Web3, you really don't need to go that deep dive into as in how blockchain works under the hood, but that's just me because I just could not move forward without knowing the things, how things are working. So then I started creating content. So I have created two courses, like the beginners friendly course and the advanced blockchain course. So my question is, how can content creators contribute to developers DAO? Is there any way where you can list the content that we have already created? And the second question is, how can we collab with other content creators? Right now I'm working on the Solidity course. If anybody is interested to work with me on that course, so please DM me. So those are the two questions, if you can help me understand.
Yeah, so we do partnerships with people who are creating educational content within Web3 who might not necessarily have the opportunity to mint the membership. I guess like the first membership tokens that we did for membership NFTs for joining Developer DAO. But yeah, I can reach out to you and we can see how we could add value, how we could work together on that. And I definitely know there's others who will definitely be DMing you about those content creation partnerships, opportunities, and collaborating on that. And so yeah, if that answers your question. And then in regards to how to let me see, Ryan's back, and Ryan will probably have some thoughts on that as well. Ryan, so I need to ask a question around just the best ways to. I know you were speaking on the educational content that was being made by Developer DAO, and he was asking how could people who are creating content around that as well contribute to the educational content that we plan on rolling out from Developer DAO
Sure.
in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, sure. So sorry I dropped out there. My phone decided that it was time for a software update, so I'm only just now getting back. So I would say get into Developer DAO and work directly with our education team and help us shape the direction that we're taking there. There are a few different initiatives around educational pathing, wayfinding, mentorship, getting people onto projects. I'm sorry that I'm just getting here now. So do you have content that you've already made that you're hoping to get some use out of, or who am I even speaking to?
Yeah, this is Annie.
Hi,
Brian.
Annie.
So I already have two courses available. It's full-fledged courses. One is a beginner's blockchain course, and the another one is deep dive into blockchain. And right now I'm working on the Solidity course. I mostly focus on the project-based learning. So I start with the basics, and then at the end I create content so that people will know how to start and how to end. And project-based learning is the best way, I think, to start with any technology. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I just wanted to know, if I can collaborate with other people and who are willing to collaborate and work with me, so probably we can create more content and help people who are just starting in this space.
Sure. So what would you consider success for that for you? Is it like people who went through your content? Are you offering like personal mentorship, or are you building a community? Like, tell me a little bit more about like what success looks like for you, please.
Yeah, at this moment, I mean, the reason I started creating content is because I can learn more while I create content. Because if it's just me who is learning, so probably I will just learn 20% of the things, and I may not deep dive into as in how things are working under the hood. So you can think of it my selfish reason of doing that, because I learn more when I create content.
I
So
hear
yeah,
that.
and in that process, I help others because they can learn from more content, and that motivates me to do more, because people are learning and they are giving the feedback that you're really doing a great job. So at this moment, I am not really planning to. I was not planning to build any kind of community, but I was just trying to communicate and bring more people into Web3 and blockchain space.
Amazing. So it sounds like uh, the action is more important than the content. So I would invite you to come join our education team. Would you be interested in being a mentor to some new juniors?
Absolutely, I would love that.
You're in. You're in. Come get it. Are you already a Developer DAO member?
No, I'm not. So I'll ping you separately, and we can discuss about that.
So okay. So let me lay it out for everybody, because I'm sure this comes up, and we are working on delivering a token launch that will open up our community, and we're very actively working on that. But you'd be shocked at how challenging that is to do, and that is going to open up in March. But I don't want our plans around that to be a reason why anyone didn't get in. So don't go spreading this around, okay? But you can get in if you pick up an NFT. There's a bunch of them that people who minted a whole bunch extra are selling them on OpenSea. You can still get them. They're really cheap because they don't do anything other than get you in to Developer DAO. If you pick one up and then ping me on the Developer DAO server, we'll get you connected with David Dale, and we can get you teaching people like this week. So for everybody who like needs to get in absolutely for free and needs scholarships, those are coming. Absolutely, those are coming in March and the weeks that follow. But for anyone who's already in crypto, pick up an NFT on OpenSea. It's the Devs for Revolution NFT. There's like 1,000 of them that are available, and we'll start making your dreams come true. So Annie, I'm so excited to work with you. I'm really, really glad. We need more motivated mentors and educators. Really happy to have you as part of our community.
Sure, I would like to work with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we couldn't do it without you. So I'm going to be here for another 4 minutes. And then at the top of the hour, I'm hosting the Vibes call on the Developer DAO server. So
Same.
nice. So we're going to shut this down in a couple of minutes. But I guess, is there any last things that we should talk about? Wow, this room really filled up.
Yeah, I think Freddie. I don't know if Freddie and Mariah. I don't know if you all had a question that you wanted to ask or anything y'all wanted to share. I know y'all both been waiting patiently. So.
Hey, yeah, I was actually just curious. I just saw this pop up on my Spaces, and yeah, I'm a founder and designer for an art app on the iPhone. It's called MakeArt, and yeah, we are currently in Web 2, and we are planning to go into Web 3. We've actually kind of been playing around with it for a while. I've been into it just in general, like NFTs and all that, since end of 2019, 2020. And we're just trying to figure out, how Apple guidelines might play, and UX UI, given Web3 isn't the most friendliest. So yeah, I think we have kind of fairly high standards in terms of like design and like how things play out. But I'm curious, like with this Developer DAO, like will there be certain things that go at this, or projects that could be laid up, or maybe I don't know if you guys will do hackathons.
We absolutely, yeah, we're absolutely planning hackathons. And you mentioned that you have high standards for your UI and your UX, bringing your work into Web3. So one of our stars, Daiwat, has championed a project, Web3 UI, one of our software projects that's coming out of Developer DAO. And I'm sure that it can provide some utility to you, save you some time. I'd love to hear your thoughts, see if that is actually meeting your needs, because we want not only to bring developers up to speed, but we want to make all the tools freely available and easy to use for people like you and your teams to get products on Web3 and available to the community in a really easy, seamless way. So please check out Web3 UI, and we will, of course, be doing hackathons. I believe we're planning a hackathon for Web3Con. And I think I'm obligated to plug, like, come pay us money and be a sponsor. But the hackathon, I'm pretty sure, is going to be free. And absolutely, if you and your team want to come to the hackathon and try out Web3 UI and our other software and file some bug reports and work with our team and maybe do some recruiting, I'm sure we would all love that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, I'm always looking at what's happening in that space, manifold.xyz, third web, etc. But yeah, I'll check it out. And then, yeah, when do you plan to do these things? I guess it seems like March, April is launching.
Yeah. I think the hackathon that leads up to our con is like late February, early March.
All right.
I think Web3Con was announced, right? Did we announce dates for it? It's at least a little bit announced.
It's been announced. Yeah, it's well, we have the website. I pinned it to the top of the spaces. There's quite a few tweets pinned to the top of the spaces, but yeah, I'll share it with you, Freddie. I'll share it with you directly.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, and just before we close it out, I get the impression, Mariah, that you've been up here. So, how's it going?
Hey, Ryan and Isaiah, and our, I don't know, what do we say to the mastermind of it all? What is his title? What's that title in DAO? But I wanted to say thank you for creating the space, for making the vision so clear, and then executing with like so much passion. You can feel it, and I just appreciate it, and I wanted to thank you for that. But I am a startup founder, and I work closely with minority startups and underrepresented, marginalized communities. And I wanted to know also, I do also work closely with the government and state and local entities as well. Not for, but with. So just as Clarence, not for. But I wanted
Gotcha.
if you all, or who I should contact in terms of partnering and licensingship to actually be able to distribute the educational content on a larger scale if possible, because I feel like the communities that you are reaching or targeting for your scholarships would really benefit those that may already be certified with the government and established in terms of scaling and development, so that they're able to go to those new heights with Walmart and Amazon and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you. Heartwarming. The second thing is that you won't ever, while I'm alive, ever need to pay a licensing fee to Developer DAO to use our work. Everything that we do will always be free and open source and available at no cost to the public for the benefit of humanity and the community. So just starting there, we're never ever going to ask you to pay a licensing fee.
Thank you.
As for the scholarships, when I mentioned that, I guess that term is probably not going to serve me, and I'm going to need another one.
Yep.
But the way that we're planning our community. Oh yeah, please.
Well, I was going to suggest just a more open thought and approach altogether with our marketing in terms of Web3, because the corporations are taking a hell of a control of it, excuse my French. And we could and we have the power to change and transition and alter the narrative. But if we don't do it soon enough, then I think the majority will end up misunderstanding, and then the same problems are replicated into Web3 space.
Yeah, avoiding the replication of existing problems is definitely a challenge that's not going to go anywhere. But while I also have that urgency, it's never too late. It's never too late to change the future. It's like those examples. Whenever people go back in time, they're like always so nervous about like stepping on a fish or like any small action changing the future in a big way. But we have that same power today. And even if we feel like we didn't get enough done yesterday or today, we have that same power tomorrow. So I'm hopeful. I have the true faith. And I feel you've got it too. Gosh, I could go on about the pure true faith here forever, but I am late for a meeting that I'm hosting over on our Discord server. So this has been an absolute pleasure, everybody. I'm sure I'll be back here for the next one. And I got to go. So thank you, everybody. And I am out.
I'm back, by the way. And I think that I am also having to jump off in about 10 minutes. So I say we shoot for 15 minutes after the hour, if that's cool. So if I've missed something, I'm sorry. I just literally just jumped back on. So I just want to let you know I'm back, and I will be needing in the space in about 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I have to jump off to get on another call, but thank you all for letting me add value,
Yeah,
contribute,
I
answer questions.
appreciate you participating these last 2 hours and taking on co-hosting responsibility. I will see you in the Discord. And if anyone else that's up here now wants to speak or have any questions, feel free to jump in, and we're going to wrap it up in about 10 minutes. I've added 2 more people to the stage. So Ali and Charles, welcome, and feel free to ask any questions that you might have.
I think I'll wait until you guys hold another room since you have 10 minutes. I kind of wanted to go on a little deep dive on the legal aspects of DAOs and your guys' thoughts on where it's heading.
Yeah, that would be a really good topic that we could focus in on an entire conversation. But maybe I can answer quickly if you have like a general, or maybe just have a quick 2 or 3 minute discussion around it if you'd like. I would say it's a very much of a gray area, I think. And we are doing a lot of reaching out to legal advisors, a lot of other DAO communities. We even have a room with Lex DAO, which is a legal DAO, to kind of try to do everything we possibly can to make sure we're doing what's right and not putting anyone at any making anyone susceptible for any negative outcome. But I think it is a much of a gray area, and it's something that it's worth considering. When being part of a DAO, that a lot of the stuff that we're doing is kind of groundbreaking in the sense that we don't have a lot of pre-existing use cases and examples for us to kind of draw off of. So we're kind of like, navigating into this new area, and a lot of these questions are not answered, and we're doing, our best by listening to our legal advisors and asking people that are in LexDAO who are kind of operating in the space to kind of answer questions as we go along. We have a room that's actually open for all DAO members to kind of ask legal questions to LexDAO. So still figuring it out though. Yeah, but it would be a fascinating topic to dive into for like an hour.
Yeah, no, I'm a member of LexDAO, and I help companies structure their DAOs. So there's just limitations, right? And setting up with a series LLC, or whether you're doing a social DAO or utility DAO, and then I've just been seeing so many different applications. Like you said, there isn't a major consensus on how a DAO should be structured, but there is some guidance already out there. So I think it's important to at least adhere to the guidance that the SEC and other regulators have set out. as it pertains to DAOs and similar structures. But it sounds like you guys are getting the right advisement. I just kind of wanted to elaborate and see where you think because there's limitations, right? There's structural limitations in order to be compliant as far as the scalability of where your DAO can go. But again, probably best to have for another discussion.
Yeah, totally. I would love to reach out and invite you on to be in a panel maybe for a discussion around that.
Yeah, happy to.
And do you want to give a quick overview or shout out to LexDAO for anyone that might not be familiar?
Yeah, it's composed of a group of Web3 attorneys or attorneys that are specialized in Web3 and helping advance the implementation of DAO, whether that be through entity structuring or just the logistical and operational aspects of how a DAO should be structured, everything from smart contracts, member count, community voting, so on and so forth. So they're heavy hitters for legal guidance for DAOs.
Eric.eth, you have your hand held up. Feel free to jump in.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, so I'm Eric, currently working as a software engineer at a Web2 company, mental health scale up. And I'm trying to get into like the Web3 space and starting to work full time with that. And while looking for jobs, I've seen like you can either join a DAO or a Web3 startup. And to add on to the previous question, like where do you see like the Web3 startup versus the DAO's role in the Web3 work provider space?
Yeah, that's super fascinating and one of my favorite topics actually about this entire space of Web3. It's really cool because there's so many different organizational structures that you don't really see in the traditional world. I think a lower barrier to entry. I think in Web3 versus what we've seen in a lot of these other traditional types of organizational structures. I think Web3 over indexes on enabling people who are kind of like the go-getter mentality, like that kind of go out of their way to just start doing stuff, people that are more active than passive. I think those types of people seem to excel a little faster in Web3. But, like we're so used to kind of like applying for a job and like going through an interview and like coming on and maybe working full time. So those types of opportunities are absolutely available in Web3, but you also have anything and everything in between, these DAOs and stuff, which are completely new, but also just a lot of really interesting, ways to work with people. So I think that if you're kind of a developer and you want to get involved, there's protocols that you can work for. Some of these protocols will bring you in as an advisor or like as a consultant, and they'll give you like a combination of tokens and cash or whatever, base pay that you would like. You have traditional startups that will give you, some of them are just traditional like cash, maybe equity. Some of them have their own tokens. There's kind of the Web 2ification of like Web 3 almost. You could think of kind of like a centralized service or company building for the Web 3 space. Not my cup of tea, but those are great opportunities to work in as well. And they might be more traditional. And then DAOs where you can just jump in sometimes. We're trying to create pathways where people can contribute permissionlessly and get access with the token or with tokens and gain equity. So right now to get in, you have to kind of have this token, but how can we make it to where people can just contribute and get in without having to kind of already have access? So I think one good way is just contributing to some of our open source projects. So we don't have this structure in place yet, but I kind of envision if someone participates and sends a couple of pull requests, or maybe they kind of go in and answer questions in our documentation or our GitHub repos, like after a certain number of contributions, we just give them the tokens, and those tokens are worth money. They can either keep them and continue building up the community and making it worth more, or they can sell them. And, you can use those tokens, of course, to access the Discord. So, there's a lot of interesting ideas around there. And I think one of the things that is always a question around these DAOs is like, why do you need a token and why do you want to token gate a Discord in the first place? Why not just let everyone in? And I think the approach that we're taking with Developer DAO is like, I agree. I think like everything that we're doing should be open and free to everyone. And the whole focus of Developer DAO is to build free public goods and free educational material and open source and all this stuff, free events and stuff like that. But at the same time, we have to have some way for us to coordinate. And if we just have 100,000 people in a Discord like acting wild and crazy, we're just not going to get anything done. So like we want to have people within the community that have some sense of skin in the game, some sense of ownership, and therefore we kind of like have these tokens that give them that. And if they want to leave the community, they can then sell that and kind of get return on their investment, or they can give it to someone else or whatever. So therefore we kind of need to kind of have a limited number of people in there organizing all of these things that we're doing. And again, if we had like 100,000 people in there, I don't think we would get anything done. In fact, we're having a hard enough time getting things done with just 5,000 people, which is a lot of people. But yeah, so that was just a very long answer, which is probably I rambled a little bit. So sorry about that.
Great.
Can I
Thanks a
just
lot.
chime in there and geek out a little on the?
Please.
Thanks. So I think, like I said, there's different models that are being applied. I think everyone's slapping the DAO title to anything that is relative to this idea of removing hierarchical, having it community-based, transparency, some of the underlying principles of DAOs. But then you have the actual application of it, legal structures of it. You're starting to see Singapore and Panama and other states start structuring or allowing for entities to be structured in that way. But I think for something like an employment, I think the closest it would probably be a corporation, but the operating agreement or the principles of the corporation would be modeled after the DAO, but it wouldn't be a DAO in essence, because it wouldn't be where all members are equally contributing to all aspects of it. You'd have to be docs in order for it to be included as a member for the entity. So maybe co-ops. I think co-ops are a great alternative, and I know that Colorado is kind of moving in that direction to embrace that model of all of us working together, and you contribute, and that's your form of payment or work. But again, I just want to make clear that there's limitations as far as the legal structuring of a DAO and then how we're seeing it applied in practice.
All right, I think we have time for one last question, and then we're going to wrap it up. I apologize to anyone that's waiting, requested speaking that isn't going to make it this time. We'd love to do this again, and would definitely bring you up next time. So Mansoor, you have your hand raised. Feel free to jump in, and then we'll wrap this space up.
Hey, what's up? I really like the talk about the legal thing about the DAO. I've been part of QAO, and we did a lot of legal advisor stuff, and I think it's a very still gray area. Like you said, I just want to share a little insight that we had a nice feedback and nice thing going with doing kind of an extensive interview process. So like you said, to not open to anybody, and also to really be sure of the skills of the person before they join, to have this exclusivity and to have this nice knowledge based. And we had a program of like doing grants that the developers can have. So this we had a lot of success with it. And I had a question concerning the Web3, because I've seen there's a lot of application being built on Web3, and now with the NFT world, there's like a big lack of knowledge sharing between the gaming developer and the kind of the Web3. And I think it's very interesting that there's more people in this. And I was wondering if you were focused also into helping play to earn games to integrate Web3 function and to be also in the kind of the gaming Web3 space.
We have people in our DAO and the community that are involved in gaming projects and stuff. And I think I've heard a lot of insight from people that have a lot of experience in gaming, or maybe you're actually building out the different types of projects that we think of when we think of like Web3 gaming or play to earn or play to or ownership within these games and stuff. And I think there's a couple of outcomes from these conversations and these thoughts that I've come away with. And I think the first one is that games are really good games are really hard to build, and they take years sometimes to build. So when you think of something like Fortnite or Call of Duty or these types of games, those games, if someone is going to create a Web3 game and they're going to say, oh, we're going to build this quality of game, I think it's going to be really tough for them to kind of do that. And instead, I think we're going to see these traditional Web2 companies like Zynga or these other ones that have kind of come out and they've said that they are going to build Web3 or NFT and ownership features in, that they're going to be successful more than like a new project that's just going to come out and build, a game that is going to be of that caliber. Now, on the other hand, we're also seeing like new paradigms of games being built using these primitives that are not going to be kind of maybe a game that's going to go on PlayStation or something, but it's going to be something that will probably become as popular or as viral. That's just going to be different than anything we've seen before. I think a good example of this might be something like how Pokemon Go was completely different than anything we had seen before. And like, while it was probably a difficult application to build, it was probably nowhere nearly as hard to build as something like a game that we think of when we think of like a video game. And I think that we're also starting to see a few of these examples. Like Axie Infinity was a game that obviously was one of the first ones to become popular in this space. And it's probably not the quality of game that like the average gamer would use, but the virality of it and the ownership features of it obviously became really popular, and people were earning money. And I think like we're going to see more of those types of games coming from the Web3 community. And then like the Web2 community will be implementing some of these features that will be more of like these traditional types of games that will implement those features. But yeah, I think that's my long answer. And we do have people in the DAO that are building and working on gaming projects. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the next year or two.
Very great answer and detail. Thank you for the insights and the feedback. I would be interested just like a follow-up question of like interoperability with other dev team already existing, because we are also about the free and openness and sharing the knowledge. And how would we do it from our dev team if we want to like share some stack of codes we have for the ownership and like exchange knowledge for like Unity bug with some plugin for multiplayer network in terms of like in terms of sharing? How would that work for the developer DAO to collaborate?
Yeah, I mean, if you have anything that you'd like for us to platform, we have like 40-some thousand followers on our Twitter account. Like DM or tweet at us, and we'll share it and retweet it. That's one way we can share. If you have anything that you'd like to share within the DAO, I would recommend becoming a participant in the DAO. We have a couple of channels within there that will allow you to kind of share and boost your content. A lot of times people will write a post, and we have this boost your content channel, and then we'll tweet it out, and they'll often get between a few dozen to a few hundred likes and a few thousand or tens of thousands of views on their content. So that's one way we can share. There's a collaborations channel in the DAO if you want to kind of get in there and collaborate with people. So that would be my recommendation, and we're still figuring out new ways to enable more collaborations, because there's so many people and other DAOs that we'd like to collaborate with, but we're still trying to figure out how that looks for us.
Nice, thank you for your answer. Yeah, because I guess it's like hard to manage many people at the same time, and it's nice to have this independent way for everybody independently to collaborate. But then there's also like, if I want to come with all the dev team I have existing, I need to tell them each individually to like go at a specific place. But this is doable also, and I think thank you for your answer. I will go in the rabbit hole. Thank you.
Awesome. So I think we need to wrap it up, but I see Charles has his hand raised, so this will be the last question. Charles, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, but I have no question. I have just say hi from Tanzania, East Africa.
Awesome. Well, hello from Mississippi. Thanks for hanging out today and being a part of the conversation. So, yeah, did you want to know anything else, or did you just want to come say hello?
I learn a lot, so I need some time to go through what I learn and what I note down. Maybe on next space.
Okay, cool. Yeah, keep an eye out for the next space, and we'll be doing another one of these hopefully in the next few weeks. But I just want to go ahead and wrap it up. So thanks for everyone that showed up today. If you want to learn more about Developer DAO, follow us on Twitter. We're going to be opening memberships back up officially soon. But as I mentioned, like right now, you can kind of look and see where we're headed by looking at our forum discussions. Essentially, you can get one of the NFTs off the open market, off of OpenSea today. You can still join the Discord. And if the things kind of go as they're planned, then that will ultimately kind of like make you a DAO member. or you can acquire the code tokens that we're going to be launching soon as well. We're going to be opening up sponsorships and scholarships, diversity scholarships, or focus really more on, bringing in people from underrepresented groups and stuff. But everyone, we're going to be giving scholarships to like a lot of people. So keep an eye out for that. And I hope everyone has a great week. And thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us today.